thank you all for coming tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about recording a CD and what you want to do, the steps you want to take depending on what you're trying to go for. Most of y'all know me, I guess all of y'all know me, but a little brief introduction for those watching on YouTube who don't. My name's Chris. I'm a musician. I'm a Grammy Award-winning musician, and I've been nominated 6 times for a Grammy. I've won 1, and I've been nominated 1 time as a producer and an engineer. So I believe that qualifies me to give this little talk about how to choose a recording studio and what you want to do, the steps you want to proceed with when you go to make your CD. First off, why are you making your CD? Are you going to make this CD because you want to become the next superstar? You see yourself on the radio in a year? Or do you have a local band that you're playing with and you're wanting to go to some shows and sell some CDs for a little bit of extra money? Or maybe you're just somebody who wants to have this CD to pass down to your family or give to your friends, something to keep for posterity's sake. All those different reasons to make a CD also come with different ways to go about making the CD. It's an expensive process, and so you want to keep it into as low of a budget as you can, depending on what your goal is actually going to be. As an interview with Mark Goldstein in 2007, he said, looking at my notes here, look inside your gut and make sure you really love playing music, because if you don't, it's just not going to work. And in my career, I found that to be the case. There's been times when I've ate out of cans, eating beans out of cans to survive. Doesn't really work well with a wife and a child, but you're single, it's all right. But you really have to have a commitment. That's his point. And if that's who you are, then you're going to want to make the highest quality CD you can possibly make. You're going to want to go full tilt. You want the producer, you want to get in a good studio, you want to do everything you can to get as good a quality CD as you can. Now, if you're only making a CD to sell at local venues and you're not that concerned with how it sounds, then quite possibly you just want to go the next level down. You don't want to spend as much money. You want to get in and out of the studio quickly. You're not going to see this thing on the radio a lot. It's not that important to get everything exactly 100% correct. In that case, save yourself some money. Well, if you're just wanting to make it for posterity's sake, we have a lot of clients that come in their studio that make this kind of CD, something that they can pass down to their children or give to their friends, and they're just tickled to death to sit there and play. Because that's really what it is anyway. A CD like that is just a representation of who you are, what you've done. This is me playing music. It's a photograph of you playing music, so to speak. So in that case, you can really get by without spending a lot of money. You should never get hoodwinked into spending millions of dollars when you don't have to spend but $500. So know what you want to do before you start doing it. It's really important. When you get to the studio, if you're one of these that sees yourself on the radio next week, then you're going to want to hire a producer most likely. A lot of musicians think they can produce themselves. They think that nobody knows their music as well as they do. Well, you're right. Nobody does know your music as well as you do. But I can tell you from experience that producing a record that you're also playing on is nearly impossible. Most musicians can't get past the me factor. I want to be the star on this record. I know I'm only playing guitar, and I know I've got this lead singer over here, but I don't want to be the star. I want this thing, turn that guitar up, turn it up. You run into those kind of battles. Your band ends up fighting with each other. You have all kinds of issues in the studio, and what you end up with, most likely when you produce your own record, is a record where you sound great and everybody else is ignored. So you really want to fight the urge to produce yourself and hire an actual producer. Well, that can run into some issues too. How are you going to find a producer? Well, you want to find somebody that knows your music. Somebody that's used to recording music that you play. You don't want to get somebody just because you have a friend that says, oh, I know a great producer. You want to listen to samples of this guy's work. You have to be able to get along with this producer too. You can't have somebody producing a record that's going to tell you, I don't like what you're doing, or tell you things that you can't stand. If you can't get along with the guy, he's daily. The whole time you're in the studio, this guy's going to be telling you what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and so forth. That's what a producer does. A producer's job is to get the sound out of your head and onto the CD. That's their entire job. And I'm going to look at my notes again. As S.E. Smith described in a 2003 article, record producers as are people who play a role in shaping the artistic direction of the projects they work on. That's pretty much what I just said. They get the music out of your head and put it on the record. So if you've chosen to use a producer, just be careful that you're not getting into a producer who's just trying to get into your pockets. So if you have chosen a producer, they probably have already sized your band up, listened to your music. If you've chosen a good producer, they definitely have. And they have studios that they work with. So they're going to know what studio fits what you're trying to do. The microphone selection, the engineer you're going to be working with, your style versus their style. And so they're going to be a big help in that direction. If you've decided to not have a producer, then what you're going to want to do is hire somebody by yourself, a studio by yourself. You're going to have to be really careful when you do this. There's a lot of studios out there that are advertising, we know what we're doing, and they've got a little laptop computer and a microphone. I mean, that's an exaggeration, but you can get into a deal where you're spending a lot of money for a lot of little. You need to not do that if you can help it. So spend some time finding your own studio. This is regardless of your goals. When you're looking for a studio, spend some time and get a decent studio. If you want the record to sound like anything, otherwise you might as well go to Walmart and buy a little tape recorder and do it yourself. So finally, after you've finished with your CD and you've got all your recordings done, if you're just doing it for posterity's sake, you're finished. Wrap it up. Save your money. If you're doing it as a local band to try to make some money at your gigs, you're probably finished. Get the songs at the same level. In other words, get them at the same volume. So people that bought your CD at your gig, they pop it in and they're on their way home. They're listening to it. And track 1, they turn it up because they can't hear it. And track 2 suddenly comes in just 20 times louder and blows their ears off. So spend a little time getting that right. But if you're going all the way, you see yourself on the radio, you're competing against Toby Keith next week or whatever, you're going to want to use a mastering engineer. It's the voodoo art of the music business. These are the guys that take all the songs, get all the levels right, and do everything perfectly, and get it all glued together to where all this different kind of music comes together and creates one final project that you can be proud of and can go on the radio. The mastering engineer is going to work together with the artist that creates the artwork, and they're going to be the ones that talk to the actual manufacturer of your CD. So when you get ready, you send it to the mastering engineer. Actually, your engineer will send it to the mastering engineer. The mastering engineer will send it, after they get done, they'll send you a copy back. You'll say yay or nay on the copy. They'll make changes if necessary. And then they will get together with the artist and everything to the manufacturer, who will create a package. Are you making a record for us now? So they'll get everything together and put it in a package. And then 2 or 3 weeks later, some CDs will be at your door, ready for you to sell, ready for your consumers to consume. So I hope this gives you a little more insight into the process of what you're wanting to do if you should decide to make a record. And I hope this has been an informative little lecture. Thank you.